Get an alarm system, and use the stickers/signs saying that you have one. I'm more likely to skip a house with an alarm system. Don't make it easy for me. Lock your doors, close your windows, and most importantly, lock them. 95% of the houses I have been in, I just walked through the door or climbed through an open window. Don't leave tools laying around, that's going to make my job easier. Ladders, saws, drills, sledgehammers, putty knives, etc. All of these make it easier for me to get in your house. Contrary to popular belief, most dogs aren't a problem. Unless they've been trained to be dog guards, it doesn't take much to make one friendly. Don't advertise. If you just bought an expensive piece of electronic equipment, jewelry, tools, etc., don't brag about it in public, don't leave the trash in sight, and don't post about it on Facebook. Use security hedges under your windows. If your house has rose bushes and your neighbors don't, I'm more likely to try their house first. If it's irreplaceable, don't leave it out in the open. Get a safe for stuff like that, and make sure you bolt it down. I'll happily take a safe with me and open it later. Don't live in a nice neighborhood. When I'm looking to steal, I don't go to the poor neighborhoods. I go to the subdivisions and wealthier areas. Don't assume I'm going to wait until it's dark to rob a place. Between 9 a.m. and noon are the best times to hit. Almost everyone has gone to work, those who aren't are running errands or sleeping. That being said, invest in motion sensor lights. If someone is outside your house at night, this can help. Finally, be suspicious and alert. Is there someone new walking your neighborhood that doesn't live there? Is someone getting yard care, pest control or deliveries outside of what's normal for them? Does the same car keep cruising around at different times? You see, I'll study a neighborhood before I strike. Sometimes I'll spend upwards of a month. I'll note times people leave and arrive. I'll note if cops patrol certain areas, and when. I'll pay attention to delivery times, mailman times, and various other service people to see when they arrive, what they do, how they're dressed, etc. I'll watch to see who leaves windows open, who forgets to lock their doors, and so on. It doesn't take much time to make a hit and get away either. On average I spend 8 minutes in a house. Rarely more than that. If you're in very studenty areas of UK cities, when you order a taxi get it from a slightly different address, like a block of flats with lots of lights on, or a house you know has no one living in it, and be waiting outside it. Or better yet, get it from outside a supermarket or a pub etc. In my city, certain cab drivers are in cahoots with burglars, and let them know when the house is empty for most of the night because the students are out clubbing, even if they leave a light on etc. I don't steal anymore at all, but I used to a lot. Alarm signs are the biggest deterrent. I am going in through your front door. I am not going to check windows or creep into your backyard or any sketchy stuff like that. The neighbors calling the cops is really the only danger. I dress nicely in a collared shirt and slacks. I am white and clean cut. Fairly good looking. A bit like a police officer. Your dog is useless. There is too much on the line to worry about Fido. I have never been attacked by a dog, but if I was, I look for houses with the least viewpoints from the neighbors. Having an open front porch is your best defense. Park in your garage. Parking in front of the garage is a telltale that there is likely no other car moving in and out of the garage and the driver is likely at work. I can tell because of the discoloration. Pick up your newspapers. Stop your mail and newspaper if you are leaving town. If I pop the door and an alarm goes off, I will probably leave. Make friends with your neighbors so they know who should be at your house. Going in and someone being home is terrifying. I don't want to hurt anybody and I certainly don't want to get shot. Also, the risk for getting caught just went from 3 years to 25. I will run screaming from the frailest old lady. Again, this isn't me anymore, but perhaps it gives you some insight. Stay safe. I spent a year and a half in prison after being convicted of multiple residential burglaries. I was caught after a mailman called 911, after seeing me go through a window. I had a pretty good run of burglaries from 2007 to 2008 and haven't done any in 7 years, so technology and times have changed since my spree. Here's how I picked my houses. I would generally only go in the daytime during the week. The idea was for the adults to be at work and the kids at school. I would try to find a corner house because it would have, at least, one side with no neighbors. I went in middle-class neighborhoods close to a community college. I live in a large US city and needed an excuse to be in my late 20s walking around with a backpack. I would stand out too much in wealthy neighborhoods, and poorer neighborhoods often have bars on windows because they expect to be robbed. Middle-class people seem to be careless. I often went in through an unlocked back door. Interestingly enough, I never went through a front door. I would always go to the back or side because any fences would provide coverage. People think a large dog would be a good deterrent, but I generally avoided those annoying small yapping dogs that never shut up. I often went through a bedroom window, whether it was unlocked or not. I'm committing a major felony. I didn't care about a broken window. I usually went straight to the master bedroom because that's where the good stuff was. Things a homeowner can do, besides armed guards around the clock: get a dog that doesn't like strangers. I don't care if it's big or small or threatening or friendly. As soon as one dog barks, the whole neighborhood starts barking and announcing a burglar's presence. Cameras, inside and out. I knew a guy who was caught because he walked by someone's webcam inside their house and ended up on the news. Make the cameras visible. If I see a camera, I'm not just moving on to the next house, but I'm going several streets away. Lock back fence and restrict access to backyard. That's generally where I broke into the house from. Beware of dog, and security alarm signs and stickers are completely worthless. I once broke into a house through a doggy door. There was no dog home. Try not to have any stools or anything in the backyard. They make climbing through windows easier. If you're a burglar, talk to children. They'll tell you everything. Example: the other day we were at the store with my 5-year-old. A random woman smiles at her and says, "Hi. Aren't you pretty? What's your name?" My daughter then proceeds to rattle off her full name, first, middle and last, her mommy and daddy's name, what city she lives in, the fact that her older sister just got a new TV and a Nintendo Wii U, and that she's so excited because we're all going to be taking a trip to visit our family in California next month. All in the space of about 30 seconds. She just had so much shit she was excited to share with her new friend she couldn't stop talking. When we moved my sister to an apartment years ago, the landlord was out while we were sitting on a moving van full of stuff. Friendly neighbor walked by, saw us and offered to let us in. He took a thin flathead screwdriver and used it on the kitchen window to open the flimsy turn lock, climbed in and unlocked the house. He then told her to put a nail through the window to seal it against burglars, since the units came with AC anyways. So, good guy burglar, I guess. Another one was a car thief I hired to break into my rental car when I left my keys in the car. Saw a group of sketchy-looking guys sitting around smoking a joint and offered a guy $10 if he could get the door open without breaking anything. Took him about 10 seconds. Well spent $10. I once was visiting a female friend of mine who lived in a bit of a shitty neighborhood. At the time I was working construction and swung by after work. I got to the house and took my size 12 work boots off and left them on the front porch. I tend to carry a pair of flip-flops in my bag and changed into those. Then we hit a patio for some sunshine beers. I ended up forgetting my boots at her place and was in no rush to get them back as I had another pair. Now I do not know how true this is, but she swears that having a pair of big work boots right by her front door made her safer. I had pretty much forgotten about them as they were on their way out, but she left them right where they were. She had less craziness happen in her front yard, less strangers knocking on her door, and she was not broken into again at that place. Of course, it could have been the smell. To the legitimate burglars in here, I feel like I need to tell you something. My brother and one of my friends, completely independently of each other, have almost a fantasy about shooting a burglar. They both have this romantic visualization of them being the good guy hero and burglars being the perfect example of a bad guy that is coming into their house to kill their family. They daydream and plan for this scenario. My brother even has his alarm siren turned off when he's home so it only rings his phone and won't scare an intruder away. Like he's hunting or something. I just want you to know that these people are out there. If you break into their house, you are getting shot by a guy with a raging hero boner. And I frequently hear the same thing. Shoot to kill, because if you don't, they'll sue you. It's not worth it. Stay out of other people's houses. I grew up with a whole lot of thieving scumbags. Bank robbers, carjackers, etc. Here are my suggestions, in no particular order. Get a big dog. Very few thieves want to deal with that. If they aren't specifically targeting your house, then they will move on to the next one. For houses they are targeting, they will leave poison food outside. Keep an eye out for that. Don't use window air conditioners. This was by far the most common way to gain access by my friends. Kick in the AC and climb on in. If nothing of value was found, the AC could be taken in for scrap metal. Motion detecting lights. They are a minor annoyance. Will scare off the brainless junkies. Visible cameras. Can be fake. Though they're so cheap, Just get real ones. Don't leave your garage door open. Thieves like to drive around nice neighborhoods, looking for people who left their garage open. They love a situation where someone might be mowing their backyard. Quickly hop out of the car, run into the garage, grab as many tools as they can, and run. If they brought a truck, they'll be grabbing bigger stuff. You probably won't even notice or know what happened. Make it a royal pain in the ass to get into your backyard. 10 feet fence would be nice. No one likes breaking in through the front door or front windows. No one likes scaling 10 feet fences either. This complements the get a big dog concept. Don't keep your car keys on a hook next to the front door. Newer cars are impossible for an average thief to hotwire. Easy as hell to kick in your front door and snatch the keys straight off the hook, though. Related to the above, don't answer the door for strangers. If thieves are casing out the neighborhood, they will pretend to be magazine salesmen, Jehovah's Witnesses, etc., just to take a peek of what's inside. Especially that hook for car keys. Once again, a big dog can help here. Get an alarm system. If you can't pony up for that, get the stickers and signage of eBay. Don't keep anything in your car. Especially work trucks and vans. Hell, I even know of someone who robbed a cop car. Keep your vehicles empty. Locks don't fucking matter. The lock on the back door of a work van can be popped out in under 5 seconds with a slide puller and a screw. The locks on your house are useless too. If you're really paranoid and have a good budget, steel door frame plus solid steel door. I don't have much of any other advice on that. Don't trust locks. Lock your doors. Even though I don't think much of locks, don't leave your house unlocked either. Deadbolts on every exterior door. Keep expensive stuff out of sight. Your 70 inches flat screen TV should not be visible from the street. Your MacBook Pro shouldn't be kept right in front of your first floor office window. Don't invite strangers over. Hosting an open invitation kegger is a terrible idea. If a thief shows up, they are either stealing something right then and there, or they are casing the place to come back later. If you have a safe, use it. It's utterly stupid how many people who have them just leave them open all the time because it's annoying. If you have guns, try to keep that information to yourself. There are whole subsets of thieves dedicated to scouting out gun owners and robbing them when they're not home. Don't post your entire social life publicly on social media. The people scouting out robberies aren't always across the street in a sketchy van. They're just following you on Facebook, Twitter, Foursquare and Instagram. Keep anything that is really expensive in a bank security box. If your grandmother passed on a $50,000 diamond ring to you, don't keep it in your jewelry box. Don't do illegal stuff. The houses of drug dealers are robbed on a consistent basis, because the thieves know the cops won't get called. And the propensity for those victims to have expensive jewelry and electronics stay on the up and up, and a lot of trouble will avoid you. Leave the TV and lights on when you're not home. Not only does it give the impression someone is home, it also will entertain and comfort your big dog. If you're in an apartment, do whatever you can to add more locks, if possible according to your lease, alarm system, cameras, etc. Lots of shady maintenance men and landlords out there. Lock your patio door, even if you live on the 10th floor. Scaling the sides of most buildings is actually pretty easy. If you are prohibited from owning a big dog, a little annoying yip-yapping ankle-biting dog can work. Cats are useless. Keep the flaunting to a minimum. If you have an expensive vehicle, at least try to keep it in a garage. If you have lots of expensive tools, don't fly a Snap-on banner outside your garage. Don't put up "Hey, this house is protected by Smith & Wesson" sign. Read up and be aware of how most popular scams work. Water meter scams, fence salesman scams, etc. Most of the time, someone will be distracting you somehow, while their accomplice sneaks into your house. Just don't talk to strangers and you will avoid all of them. Junkies love to rob the elderly. Medications and jewelry. Your broke college bud is probably safe, but please make sure your grandmother is all set. Don't leave an extra key under your doormat, under a rock, in your mailbox or on top of the door frame. Also worth discussing are what to do when a burglar is in your house. Get the hell out. Your PlayStation is not worth getting stabbed over. You will most likely lose any fights you start. Don't do that. Call the cops. Don't count on them to save you, but do it anyways. At the very least, you will most likely have to file a police report anyways for an insurance claim. The chambering of a shotgun generally scares the hell out of thieves. Real thieves will get the out of there if they think someone has a gun. Junkies, though, might be too messed up to notice. Or they might have their own and not care. Still best to get the hell out. If there is no way to avoid an encounter with the robber, get naked. Not down to your underwear, I mean 100% naked. Get crazy. Yell things. This is not advised for attractive females, but for the average guy, it's a viable deterrent. The thief has a specific game plan in mind. They know how they're going to get in, where they plan to go, what they plan to take, where they plan to exit, and how they plan to leave. Anything that can be done that will majorly disrupt their plan, will generally make them leave ASAP. Mace. If you can't legally procure mace, sporting goods stores should carry bear spray. If you can't get that either for some reason, wasp or hornet spray. Again, I really can't stress this enough, goal number 1 is to get the hell out. Don't bring wasp spray to a gunfight. If you have your keys on you, set off your car alarm. And, lastly, just some general advice. Follow your local news and police reports vigorously. You should be able to get a feel for the types of crime happening in your area, and can figure out a game plan based on that. Personally, my area is high crime, but it's all smash and grab type thefts. While my vehicle has been robbed 3 times in the past year, I have zero concern whatsoever that I will be the victim of an armed home invasion. It's just not the style for the area. If you have a choice, try to live in a moderately populated area, near a police station. Living at the end of an isolated cul-de-sac is going to be a lot easier for a thief to get into without being noticed, than a townhome in a 100-unit property. Be friendly with your neighbors, to the point where they will recognize any sketchy activity. Keep your nose clean, and don't associate yourself with sketchy characters. Crime begets crime. It's callous for me to say, but really, 90% of the victims of crime that I know, had it coming. Keep receipts for anything you paid more than $250 for, and keep them in a fireproof safe. If you do end up having to file an insurance claim, they are going to pay you without documentation. Be aware that for high-ticket items, they are required to be scheduled on your policy ahead of time. If you have a $15,000 home theater system, or $20,000 in collectible Magic TG cards, your insurance company needs to know about that ahead of time. Keep serial numbers, and photos, if possible, of anything you care about. If your laptop gets stolen, and you see it the next day in the pawn shop down the street, it won't mean anything unless you have that serial number already on file somewhere. Register all of your products with the manufacturer whenever possible. You will have a hell of a time dealing with an automotive theft claim as the thief used your car keys. Keep those safe. Make copies of all your important documents, including copies of all your credit cards. It will be 100 times easier to cancel all of them if a thief gets them. Shred any important documents you are throwing out. I could write endlessly about identity theft. I'll save that for another day. Regularly back up your computer to some cloud-based service. Dropbox, Google Drive, etc. If someone steals your laptop, it shouldn't mess up your life. Install some sort of tracking app on your computer and phone right now if you haven't already. I did some thefting in my youth, I'll leave that at that. Keep in mind I was no mastermind. When picking a house, besides the obvious answers like a full mailbox and newspapers scattered about, I often picked houses by the stupid tricks people use when they go out of town. Leave the radio on, leave the TV on, leave the lights on, etc. Tons of lights on, and an obnoxiously loud TV on in the living room at 2 a.m. on a Sunday night in an upper-middle-class neighborhood? When I found a potential house, I'd obnoxiously ring the doorbell, then run away and watch for activity. After that, if I felt comfortable, I'd try to gain entry. If it was too hard, oh well. Every time I broke or opened a window or door, I would run away again for a half hour or so and watch for activity. Even if I had to do it in multiple steps. For example, break the window by the door, then run away and wait. Come back and ajar the door, then run away again. I did this because of an irrational fear of silent alarms. Obviously, if I saw any kind of activity or set off an active alarm, I would leave. So you want to keep me out your house? Don't appear as a target, full mailbox, obstructed view of the house from streets. Don't make it easy for me. Have lots of deadbolts, active alarms, motion lights, dogs, etc. I wouldn't mess with any of that stuff. If I do get in your house, don't keep small valuables all about. I often did all my work afoot, and stole money, jewelry, small electronics, etc. Have a safe basically. Hope that helps. I'm reformed now, but you can still judge. All of this is great advice. But the number one way to keep a burglar out of your house is to keep burglars out of your life. 66% of all burglaries are committed by people known to the victim. Sketchy son-in-law. Jealous neighbor. Drug addict daughter. These are the people most likely to burglarize your house. It may be tough to cut these people out of your life. Cameras and alarm systems often deter these people. Try to hide information about your whereabouts from them. Don't post your upcoming trip to Belize on Facebook where they can see it. Give the local pawn shop a picture of your sketchy drug addict son-in-law. Tell them if he's pawning things it's probably stolen from you. They may not seem interested, but believe me, pawn shops aren't interested in trouble. They'll send him out the door if he comes in. For your windows, please use a fly screen and bar it up. It makes a lot of noise to break into. The fly screen is obvious. You don't want some pissed off burglar releasing bees into your house. The thieves will then pick the door. Double doors, metals and big doors are good. Get some good locks, but this is where the double door comes in because it takes longer to pick. As the door is the most likely avenue since windows are secure, you should secure it with cameras. I'm going to throw out the idea of having an automated warning, when motion detected, and viewing the security feed. This way, since the most likely entry point is your door, you'll have two that they'll have to break through, and in that time you can contact the police, and sure, they may get in but they won't have much time. A dog is a good defense against backdoor entry, which is also a weak point in a lot of houses. Play something on a tablet or the radio. Noise is also good, it makes people think there's someone inside. Redirect calls from your home to your mobile. This is because people would check by calling the house multiple times and hanging up if there's someone picking up. Lastly, neighbors. Be friendly, talk to them and know your neighborhood. Nothing is better than a physical body presence and people having each other's backs. Thieves aren't interested in robbing a home highly secured. It takes time and the risk associated is much higher than an insecure house. They will hunt around the block looking for targets. The idea is to prevent your home from looking like an easy target. Even if they choose it, make it seem like your house is occupied. If they continue, make it hard to get in and enough time for you to call the police. No home is ever safe. All homes can be broken into. But because people robbing houses aren't exactly big shots, they're usually just some low-life idiot who needs some quick cash. First of all, I'm not coming in at night while you're asleep. The hypothetical, I'm because nobody sane admits to criminal behavior, so I'm definitely just a kid on the internet trying to sound cool. I'm coming during the workday when nobody's home. But just to be on the safe side, since some burglars are also rapists and murderers, sleep with your burglar alarm set. Most alarms have an instant setting where they'll go off right away if a door is opened, as opposed to that 60-second countdown to give you time to enter the alarm code. Even if you can't afford to pay a monitoring company to actually monitor your alarm, still get one installed that makes tons of noise, and post alarm signs everywhere. If I am coming to murder and rape you at night, in addition to stealing your belongings, I'm coming in the back door, not the front. Your neighbors can see your front door, so if I kick it in, they see a broken front door if they happen to look out their window, but how often do you see your neighbor's back door? Your front porch light is great for letting me know you're home and will probably stop me from walking by to check if you forgot to lock it, but if I'm breaking in at night, I know you're home already. Keep your back porch light on, have some floodlights installed in the backyard. If you like dogs, get a mean dog. If you don't, still post signs saying you have a mean dog. I'm not worried about getting eaten by your dog, but if he's one of those annoying ones that barks up a storm, I'll leave before he gets me caught. You can find some how-to about this on the internet. People can supposedly get your garage door open from the outside if you don't get some zip ties and secure the emergency catch. I've never done that, but the theory that it could be done makes sense. If someone's in your garage, they can close the garage door and have all the time in the world away from prying eyes to work on getting into your home. Or just stealing your cars and power tools. Deadbolts are great, but your lock hardware is usually attached to your door frame with tiny screws, so a good kick will bust the whole contraption out no matter how hefty the actual bolt is or how awesome your door is. You want to replace those tiny screws with insanely long, durable ones. Again, internet can help with this. They also sell these funny cane-looking things you can wedge below your doorknob to make kicking in your door harder. They don't really work, but if a guy is stupid and desperate and tries a few kicks and can't get the door open enough, he might just move on versus making more noise and risking notice. But seriously, nobody breaks in at night. I'm going to drive out to an upper-middle-class suburban neighborhood off the beaten path during the day. You know how you paid extra for that house with the 45-minute commute to work because of all the trees, hiking trails, and being farther from the traffic and bustle of town? Unless you're paying homeowners association dues out the butt for constant patrols, you're pretty unprotected. That's the kind of neighborhood I'm visiting. I'm going to watch your house and a few others on your street for a few days and see when people come and go. Once I'm pretty comfortable that you work a normal 9 to 5 and don't come home for lunch and your neighbors mostly do the same, I'm going for either your garage or the back door, probably around mid-morning, maybe noonish. I might have a tool belt, great for carrying useful tools and also passing myself off as a handyman, cable guy, a guy who reads meters, or something similar in the rare case that someone sees me. I'm not after your TV. Who the hell can walk into a house and walk out with a 57-inch LCD display that you probably wall-mounted, making me spend an hour getting it down? It's whatever I can grab in 10 minutes or less and carry out with me easily. If you own guns or jewelry or valuable portable electronics, hide them, get a safe, etc. Now if you let me sneak into your garage, I might just park my car in there, close the garage door, and spend an hour loading whatever I can fit into my trunk. A lot of people don't think that hard about securing their garage when it's a pretty good point of entry, plus you have some valuable stuff in there. Some houses even have little screen doors going from their yard into the garage. If you have an attached garage, get rid of that crap.